Welcome back, and today we are tier ranking all of season 16 of classic Doctor Who from 1978 to 1979. And this season actually has a subtitle because it is the Key to Time season. So all the serials have an overarching story where the Doctor and his new companion Romana are searching for the segments of the Key to Time. So first up is the Ribos operation. It could be pronounced Rebos or Ribos. I don't know, I just say Ribos. I don't hear it out loud enough. I just see it written, so I'm saying Ribos operation. Forgive me if I'm wrong. So this serial got a 4. I definitely enjoyed this one more than I did the first time around. I thought it was really fun, and obviously it introduced us to Romana 1. And I like Romana. I think she's a great companion. By this point in time, my companion tier lists should both be up, so you can see my thoughts on Romana there. But I think Romana 1 is great. I loved her introduction into the TARDIS as well. I loved how casual she was about everything. I liked Romana. I thought she was really good, and I love having another Time Lord in the TARDIS. I think it's great to have another Time Lord in the TARDIS. What I don't like though is the Guardians. The Guardian storyline in general, I hate them. I just wish that the Key to Time had been a mission on behalf of the Time Lords. If Romana had been sent by the High Council of Time Lords, like she thought she was, and the Doctor had to go on this mission for the Time Lords, it could have linked into the invasion of time or something. For instance, it could have been a way for the Doctor to make preparations for the fact that he destroyed their defense systems and all sorts from the invasion of time serial before, so it could have linked into that. And I just think it would have been better had it been a mission for the Time Lords and not for the White Guardian. I don't like the White Guardian, I don't like the Black Guardian, I don't like their inclusion in the universe in general. When you get big god-like beings with cosmic powers and stuff, I tune out at that point. I don't like it. I like the fact that there are different species with different skill sets and abilities, but I just don't like the whole gods thing in sci-fi. I don't know why, I just don't. And yes, that did carry on into New Who as well. I don't like god beings then either. So I just hate the Guardians. I just wish it had been a mission for the Time Lords. And the Black Guardian could have easily been a new nefarious Time Lord, akin to the Master or Morbius, that sort of thing. Just a new nefarious Time Lord who wants the Key to Time for themselves. And that's why the Time Lord High Council have sent the Doctor and Romana to retrieve it, because they think that this bad guy could actually do it. So they just think, let's just get the pieces and hide it in Gallifrey's archives or something. That I think would have been better for me. Not in general, but for me, I think that would have been better. I just don't like the White and Black Guardians. The storyline for this episode was very Hustle-esque, which I liked because I love the show Hustle. If you haven't seen it, watch it, it's fantastic. And the main con man in this reminded me of Mickey, the main con man in Hustle, because at one point Mickey sells the Sydney Opera House or something, and in this serial the main con man mentions that he once sold Sydney Harbour, but he didn't include the Opera House, and that's what got him into trouble, is because the guy he sold Sydney Harbour to also owned the Opera House. But that just sort of reminded me of that, and I quite enjoyed that. But yeah, overall it was fun. I do have some other thoughts on certain bits, like the Doctor refusing to use Romana's preferred name. Like, he makes everyone call him Doctor when he has not got a doctorate. We know he has not got a doctorate. He makes everyone call him Doctor, but then he won't use Romana's preferred name that she wants to be called. And then he says, I'm going to call you Romana. And she goes, well, no. And he goes, but it's that or Fred. And she goes, okay, call me Fred then. Like, she seems quite happy about the name Fred. And he goes, come along, Romana. It's like, bitch, who do you think you're talking to? I don't like hypocrites, and the Doctor is the biggest one of them all. He's the biggest hypocrite in the universe. I don't like it. Although there's a better moment with the Doctor later on when the Prince slaps him in the face with the glove and the Doctor just grabs the glove and slaps the Prince back. It's quite funny. But yeah, other than that, there's not much more to say on this one. I just think it was a fun time, really, and a good introduction to the Key to Time storyline, and it was just a nice start to the season. Good introduction to Romana, the Key to Time, the Guardians. We also got more information on the Doctor. With another Time Lord in the TARDIS, we get a lot more information on the Doctor as the season goes on. So we know that in this serial, he is 759, and also, while Romana got a triple first at the Academy, the Doctor only just scraped through and passed with 51% on his second attempt. For one thing, I think it's quite good because it shows kids that even if you're not very good at exams, you can still go far. Because look at the Doctor, look what he's done with his life. You can still go far. But also I just think it's funny because the Doctor always thinks he's the smartest person in the room, and maybe he is, but not all the time, let's be honest. And then Romana's there just like, yeah, I got a triple first and you just scraped by on your second attempt. Come on. I just think it's funny. But anyway, Ribos operation is going to go, I'm going to put it in upgrade in progress. I do think it's good and I think it's fun, but I have the issues with the Guardians, and because they're in this one, it just annoys me a bit too much, and it's the whole reason for the storyline happening is the Guardians. So I'm going to put in upgrade in progress, but it was an enjoyable adventure. And the MVP for the serial is Binro. Next up is the Pirate Planet. This one scored a 4 on average, and again, it was better than I remembered it being from my first watch. I think it's an interesting concept for an episode, that there's a planet that's completely hollow and it just sort of moves around and encases other planets to drill into them and mine them, whether they're inhabited or not. I think it's a really interesting concept for an episode to be focused on. This serial, we get more information about the Doctor. Now, according to Romana, the Doctor has been travelling in his TARDIS, the blue box TARDIS, for 523 years, right? And we know his age is 759 at this point. So, that makes him 236 when he fled Gallifrey. I mean, this is Time Lord years, so it could be like 23 in Earth years, I don't know. But yeah, so that is a little more information about the Doctor there. This is another serial where there's not many extras, and it shows from the start where the bad guys are addressing the civilians, and apparently he's talking to everyone on the planet, and there's like 5 people. That's the whole planet. All the extras went to the Invasion of Time and the Deadly Assassin. None here. The villain of the episode, the captain, he reminds me of a cartoon villain from like an old Barbie movie or something. I can't explain it. I don't know why, but something about his whole look makes me think of an old Barbie movie villain. Like, I feel like he would suit a Barbie movie. He would be a villain easily in one of those movies. I don't know why, but he would. Romana in this serial introduces herself as a Time Lord. Now, this is crucial because it brings up something that annoys me in New Who. Forgive me for bringing up New Who. The first Time Lord, who was a woman who introduced herself as a Time Lady, was Missy. And that was because the Master was fully throwing herself into being a woman now. Every aspect, like everything was feminine about Missy. She was hardcore going for it. So yeah, it makes sense that she would call herself a Time Lady, and she said she was old-fashioned and stuff like that. It was quite fun. But ever since then, every female Time Lord has been known as a Time Lady. But in Classic Who, they're all just Time Lords. And it makes so much more sense for there to just be a gender-neutral term, because Time Lords are a gender-bending species. They just swap to and from anyway. And yes, in Classic Who, that wasn't necessarily confirmed, but the producers of the show were discussing having a female Doctor anyway. I think around about this sort of time anyway, questions like that started coming up. So I don't understand why in New Who, every single female Time Lord is now called a Time Lady. And it's in universe and out of universe. So when you look up, say, the Rani online, it will say a Time Lady, but she's a Time Lord. She would have introduced herself as a Time Lord. And Rodan in the Invasion of Time introduced herself as a Time Lord. And then Romana as a Time Lord. I don't understand why the change happened after Missy. It makes sense for Missy. It doesn't make sense for everybody else. I liked it as a Missy only thing. I don't like it as every female Time Lord now calls herself a Time Lady. The only exception to this rule was the 13th Doctor. She was still known as a Time Lord. That's the only exception to the rule. Every other female Time Lord since Missy has been known as a Time Lady in and out of universe, and I don't know why, and I don't like it. And I only mention this now because Romana introduced herself as a Time Lord in this serial, and it made me think of that. Speaking of Romana though, there's a moment near the end of the serial where, bearing in mind this is her second trip with the Doctor, it shows how much she trusts him already. He tells her to basically turn the force fields on the TARDIS off, and she's like, but that's our only defence. She just trusts him. He says, yep, just do it. And she goes, well, it's been nice knowing you, and she just does it. She's willing to put her life on the line because she trusts him so much after knowing him for such a short amount of time. I don't know whether that speaks to the charisma of the Doctor as a character, or just the fact that he knows his stuff when it comes to saving people and saving planets, and Romana could see that. But whatever it was, I just like the fact that you could see that layer of trust already building between them, because she just, yeah, okay, he told me to turn off the only thing that's going to protect us, but sure, I'll go for it. And it works. So I like that. I think that was a good moment for the Doctor and companion in this season. The only other thing of note is that the Doctor mentions meeting Isaac Newton and being the one to make the apple fall on his head. He climbed the tree and made the apple fall so that Newton would discover gravity. And someone asked, well, what happened then? And he says that he told him to clear off out of his tree. But later on he had dinner with him and explained the concept of gravity. So, yeah. Once again, the 4th Doctor just destroying later storylines, because the 14th Doctor and Donna meet Isaac Newton in his tree and he discovers Mavity. So, yeah. Fun. But yeah, apparently the Doctor already met Isaac Newton and explained gravity to him at dinner. Anyway, back to the Pirate Planet. This one is going to go into... I'm going to put it in upgrade in progress again. I don't know whether I'm just being harsh. I mean, it's not a bad tier. It's not a bad tier. I don't feel like it's fantastic. I feel like it works in upgrade in progress. It's a good serial, but not the best. So I think upgrade in progress works. And the MVP for the serial is Kimus, or Kymus, however you pronounce that name. Next up is The Stones of Blood. So this story is the 100th Doctor Who television story, and part 4 also aired on the 15th anniversary of the show. So it's quite a special episode, and thankfully I enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 in my rating system. I thought it was a really good story, a great adventure. It had a lot of different elements that I really liked, and it was just classic Doctor Who, really. It was great. As we know, I do like to go on about the BBC period drama costume department, but this time we're going to discuss the location, because there's a manor house in this episode which is gorgeous, and I swear that interior has been used in Poldark. I've seen it loads of times and it looks like the one from Poldark, but it's a gorgeous manor house that they use for this episode, and I love it. I just have to mention it. There's a moment in the serial where the Doctor needs to open a door and he gets his sonic screwdriver out, which you think, you know, obviously he's just gonna sonic it open. No, he whacks the door with it and breaks the sill, and that's how he opens the door, which I just think was a great subversion of expectations there. There's a new character in this episode called Amelia, and I love her. She's an adorable addition to the show, and I think she would have made a great companion like Wilf. She reminded me of Wilf at times, Donna's granddad Wilf in the new series. Yeah, she was just so sweet and lovely. I really liked Amelia. However, as much as I like her as a character, I feel like they could have used that excuse to bring back Olive Hawthorne from the Demons, because it would have been nice to see a character that we'd already met being brought back, kind of like how the Brigadiers brought back regularly and stuff like that. Olive Hawthorne was a great character in the Demons, and I think that the Stones of Blood would have been a great use for her character to come back, because the stones were used for sort of sacrificial rituals and stuff like that, which isn't exactly witchcraft, but it's close enough in the consciousness of people in the 70s to link the two. And I just think it would have been a great reason to bring Olive Hawthorne into that particular serial. But we've got Amelia instead, and that's fine. She's adorable. Last thing I'll say is that I really love the trial. There's a trial at the end because the villain is disguised and is just watching this trial and chatting away. The Doctor's being put on trial by some sparkly floating dust. It's just really fun to watch. And he grabs the wig and sticks it on, the little barrister's wig, sticks it on, which was quite enjoyable as well. And he's pretty good with it. And Romana in the episode works really well with the Doctor. And again, you can see the trust there. Even when she couldn't see the Doctor, she heard his voice and she just did what he told her, which did end up with her being pushed over a cliff, but the point is that she trusts him. Overall, I think this was a fun episode and a really good one. I'm gonna put it into fantastic. I don't think it's quite up to the OOU standard, but it is pretty darn good, so I'm gonna put Stones of Blood in fantastic. And the MVP for the episode is Professor Amelia Rumford. Next up is The Androids of Tara. So this one is another serial I really enjoyed and gave a 5 to. This starts off a bit differently because the Doctor wants a break. And I do think that was quite a funny way to start the episode, where he's just like, I'm just gonna go fishing. And Romana says that she'll just go and collect the key to time and be back in an hour. And to be fair to her, she would have been back in that time. She immediately finds the key. She goes off, immediately finds the key segment, all good, and she would have been back in that time had she not have looked identical to the princess. Actually, it's kind of weird how the two Romanas both look like princesses. But yeah, within the first 5 minutes, Romana's located the key piece and would have been back, but the adventure starts, so she can't. And I do like the adventure that she has to go on. It is annoying that she's been kidnapped. Romana gets kidnapped a lot. It's annoying, but the adventure itself is really good. Whatever knockout juice the kidnappers gave her to knock her out, I'm surprised it worked on her considering she's a Time Lord. That I am shocked about. I think that she dealt with the situation very well, all things considered. I do have to mention that Romana's doppelganger, the princess, her outfit is divine. I have to mention that. Have to. It's the law. I didn't really write much down for this one. I've got stuff right at the beginning and stuff right at the end. One note I've got is just like, blessed little canine stuck on the moat at the end. Adorable. And also at the end, I really like there's a scene when the Doctor reminds Romana they need to get the key to time segment, because that was taken off of her at the beginning. They run into the room and try and locate it, and Romana's like, oh, it's over here, and the Doctor moves, and she's like, oh no, it's over here. And the Doctor had the key to time segment all along. He like already grabbed it and then reminded her to go and get it, and just to mess with her. I do like that, the little messing with her moment. I think that was a nice moment between the Doctor and companion. But overall, I think this was another fun episode. I don't think it's quite ooey-oo, but I think I'm going to put it into fantastic. I think it deserves that placement. It's a really good episode, it's fun, and I quite like the mystery. And like with the android invasion, there's moments when you don't know if they're an android, if they're really Romana sort of thing, so I quite like that. And the MVP for the serial is Prince Reynard. Next up is The Power of Kroll. This one was quite a mixed bag for me, but mostly on the lower end. I gave it a 3 overall. It was okay, but I just found it a bit lacking in places. Again, Romana gets kidnapped in this one, and it just gets a little bit old when Romana gets kidnapped all the time. I do love how calm and collected she is about it. She's just so nonchalant about being kidnapped, and she just sort of talks her way out of it like the Doctor does. Like, I like that, but I don't like the fact she's always kidnapped, and I can see why Mary Tam got annoyed with that as well and left the role. Yeah, it is a lot. I think the only good parts of this episode for me were the Doctor and Romana parts. The parts that had the Doctor and Romana in them, I liked that, but everything else, I didn't care about the humans versus the Swampies. I didn't really care about all that. Obviously, I stand with the Swampies. I don't like the whole sacrifice thing, because if you're religious, you do you, but don't force other people to do that. Your religion is for you, not for others. So the Swampies sacrificing Romana, who is an outsider to their religion, to their god, I don't agree with that. But I do agree with them rising up against their oppressors, the humans, because the humans have ethnically cleansed and got rid of them all as much as possible and are now trying to do it again. So I do stand with the Swampies on that. However, I don't really care about the Swampies versus humans in general. It was just a bit naff. The creature Kroll does look impressive though. Despite the green screen, whatever they used to make Kroll, I think it did look quite good. Props to them for that one, that was good. One random thing to note was that there's a character called Duggine, and he is played by John Leeson, who is the voice of K9. This is the only episode that I know of that K9 doesn't appear at all, and the actor was actually in the episode anyway, because he was playing an actual human part in this one, so that was quite fun. I think the best part of the episode is when one of the humans was attacked by a tentacle through the wall. A tentacle crashed the wall and grabbed a human, and the human lost. I think that was probably the best part of the episode. But another good part is when the Doctor and Romana were captured together and sentenced to death via stretching, effectively. They were attached by vines and were going to be stretched to death. There's a big window, and the Doctor keeps going on about the architecture. He keeps going on about the architecture in this room, and, you know, I should go and talk to the architect and all that sort of stuff. And anyone with taste knows exactly where I'm going with this. It gave me Curse of Fatal Death vibes. The Doctor was talking about the architect and going to meet the architect and discussing the architecture, and I was just like, Romana's getting annoyed with him because they're about to die and he's talking about architecture. But the Doctor, it just reminded me of the Curse of Fatal Death with, I went back in time and bribed the architect first, and I went back further in time and bribed the architect before you, and it's just, I love that story so much. There's nothing that Curse of Fatal Death could do wrong. It's brilliant. But as for The Power of Kroll, I don't know. I don't want to put it into Scarrow Sewers, really. I don't think it deserves Scarrow Sewers. So I'm going to put it into Wibbly Wobbly, because that's the only other place I could put it. So it's in Wibbly Wobbly. And the MVP for the serial is Duggine. And finally, the last serial of the season is The Armageddon Factor. So this is the conclusion to the Key to Time quest and the conclusion to the season. I gave it a 4. I thought it was pretty decent, a pretty fun adventure. There are some notable things in this serial as well. So by this time we know that the Doctor is now 760. So either it was very close to his birthday anyway, or he and Romana have been doing this Key to Time quest for quite some time, because he was 759 in the first episode when they met, and now he's 760. Also, we finally meet another Time Lord, Drax, and he tells us that the Doctor's college nickname was Theta Sigma. So we have that is canon, the Doctor's name is Theta Sigma. Well, apparently it's his nickname, but it counts. I'm using it, I'm keeping it. In the absence of anything else, the man who does not actually have a medical degree is named Theta Sigma. But the episode. So I think the opening was really good because they had this soap opera playing. I think it was quite obvious that it was a soap opera from the start. The way it was filmed didn't look like it was a normal episode. It looked like it was something you'd watch on TV. And then it sort of pulled away and showed that it was on a television in this makeshift hospital ward during a war. I think that was a really good opening. It set the scene immediately. It showed us lots of things that we needed to know with one quick scene. I think that was really good. So I liked the mystery of the episode and the fact that no one had ever seen the Zeon army. Obviously the Zeos army didn't exist in the first place, so I liked that Zeos was actually hidden from this world and there was no war happening. I think that was quite good. It reminded me of, again, another New Who episode, Boom, when there is no war happening. People are just dying for no reason. There is no actual war. And it reminded me of that in this one. So I like that mystery and I liked the conclusion to that. I don't understand Astra being a segment of the Key to Time. With Kroll, it was different. He just sort of existed. But with Astra, she was the sixth child of the sixth child or something like that. She was the sixth of the sixth. So she had parents. She had living, breathing parents. She was a living, breathing person with living, breathing parents. So did someone just sort of get the key to time and stick it in her mother's uterus and then it turned into a person with thoughts and feelings and all sorts? It very much confuses me how she is a segment of the Key to Time, and I don't like that confusion. And neither does the Doctor, apparently, because at the end of the episode he finds out that the White Guardian that they think they're talking to is actually the Black Guardian because he didn't care about Astra being a segment of the Key to Time and the fact that she would have been trapped like that forever. He didn't give a shit about Kroll though. No, Kroll, also a living creature. Nah, no one gives a shit about him, just Astra. Double standards, don't like it. Also with Astra, why is she a princess and not the queen? She's the last surviving member of the royal family, so why is she not the queen? I don't get that either. A couple of K9 things I noted for this serial, just fun little tidbits. The sass that K9 has is brilliant. How a robot dog can have so much sass is unbelievable, but he does. There's a moment when the Doctor says either he or the Marshal are being extremely stupid, and K9 just says in the sassiest voice a robot dog can make, he just goes, affirmative. It's like, okay, K9. Also, later on, he was semi-working for the bad guy. He was reprogrammed, then reprogrammed again, and he was undercover for the Doctor with the bad guy, and he cleared his throat before lying to the bad guy about the Doctor being dead. But he's a robot dog. He doesn't have a throat. Why did he clear his throat? Why did he need to clear his throat before speaking to the Shadow Man? It doesn't make any sense to me. It was cute, but it doesn't make any sense. And the final thing to mention is this is obviously Romana 1's last appearance, and her outfit in this is stunning. Love it. I think I'm going to do a tier list of all the companion outfits because I love them. And I can't decide whether I prefer hers or Zoe's. Like, I don't know who has the best fashion sense. So I think a companion fashion tier list is in order. No one may watch it, but I just want to know. I want to know for me. I want to do it for me. But the Armageddon Factor is the end of the Key to Time quest, and I think it was okay. It was a good okay, but still okay. I think I'm going to put it into upgrade in progress again. Yeah, I think that's a good place for it. It's a decent serial and it closes off the Key to Time quest quite well. I just, again, like with the first episode, I don't really like the Guardians and all of that. So it kind of dampens the beginning and the end for me because the Guardians are both in them. But it was okay. Overall, I think the serial was okay. Good mystery, decent adventure. Yeah, upgrade in progress seems good for it. And there are 2 MVPs for this serial. The first one is Marak and the second is Drax. Season stats now. The most common score for the serials was a 4 again, and the season average score was a 3.88. The quote of the season comes from the final episode, the Armageddon Factor, and I just think it shows the Doctor at his finest, facing down a bad guy completely nonchalantly, and he just knows, I don't care what you do to me, I'm going to win this. This is a conversation between the Doctor and the Black Guardian, who is on a scanner. So the Doctor's in his TARDIS, the Black Guardian's on a scanner, talking to the Doctor through that. And the Black Guardian says, I shall destroy you for this. I will disperse every particle of your being to the furthest reaches of eternity. And the Doctor, pleasant as can be, says, oh, well, I wish I could stay and watch you try, but you know how it is. Places to go, people to see, things to do. I just like the nonchalance of that. And the fact that it is very doctory. It's pretty much how he'd deal with a minor villain, and he's saying that to the freaking Black Guardian, so I like it. But that is the end of the video. That is season 16 completely tier listed, and looking at the list, it seems okay. Nothing majorly brilliant, but there are 2 in fantastic, so that's pretty good. But that's the end, so let me know your thoughts, and I will see you next time when we rank season 17.